And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. And this week, we do not disappoint as we bring in the guys from Grunge DNA. With us today, we have two of the guys. I got Patrick Zemak here, the vocalist, the lead singer.
Hello.
And we have Dave Jenkins here, a.k.a. Davis.
Yes, Davis.
We have him here with us both. Not here today. Jim Black, the bass player, is not here. And Josh Nichols, the lead guitar player, is not here also. Hopefully I get you guys back here one time. Maybe we'll get those guys down here.
Yeah,
we'll
pack
see.
them in.
Yeah.
We love it.
So, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, not a problem.
Awesome to have you.
Great
You guys are actually squeezing this in between two gigs, kind of like sort of. You know, you did one last night. You're doing one tonight. Yep. You guys are nice enough to come down here and get this in. I really appreciate that.
Oh, we appreciate the invite.
Yeah. Red bloodshot eyes and all.
Yeah, a little slower, but hey, you'll have it going tonight, right?
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Could be worse.
How's things going since the pandemic and all that stuff coming back? That, you know, everybody's kind of like dealing with the same kind of stuff. You guys don't seem like you're missing too much.
No, we've done pretty good. We actually we really only lost, I would say, maybe 2 months to maybe 3 months worth of shows when the pandemic first hit. You know, March 17th or March 15th or whatever the day was. Maybe 2.5 months, 3 months. You know, we didn't play a lot of shows, but we started picking back up. I think we still played like 50 shows that year, and then last year we were still around, I think 70 something or something.
I thought it was in the 80s.
Was it in the 80s?
I think
and
so.
then I think this year we're on pace to do almost 100.
So who's in charge of like booking the shows? I mean, is that one of you guys or is that a bunch of you guys?
Yeah, combination.
It's a combination.
Yeah, Dave and I.
For the most, I mean, from the inception, I was the guy that kind of handled all that.
Sure.
When Patrick came aboard a few years ago, he kind of stepped in and helped me with that role. So he booked some of the shows, but I definitely have the majority of the contacts. But it's a great pairing. He helps me, I help him. We talk about it, and it works great.
So you said when Patrick stepped in a couple years ago. So you guys have had different versions of this band. This isn't the version you're playing with now. Isn't what started. And you guys have been playing since like 2013.
Yeah, the first show was March of 2013. The band got together. I think we formed in my basement like August of 2012, but we were just practicing and whatnot. But our first show was in March of 2013. So obviously, March of next year will be our quote 10-year anniversary for our first show. But yes, there's been 3 versions. Version 1 did not last very long. Version 2 was really great. Lasted like 6 years, and version 3 is going on almost 4 years now.
So I think every band has a progression period. To like as you're starting off playing the smaller bars for no money basically, and eventually you start becoming more and more popular. And some bands do have changed personnel and stuff for various reasons. Whatever. I mean, whatever it happens, it happens. But it seems like the version that's in place right now seems to be very popular band right now. Whether you guys are better, worse, I don't know. That's whatever. But the truth is that you seem to be very popular right now. Very popular.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like, and when you started this whole thing off, I mean, did you ever think that you'd get to the point where you are now? Because you guys aren't, like, I'm not saying that you're some kind of national huge band type thing, but in the local, area, you guys are pretty popular. When I was talking about this interview, I'll mention to a lot of people who I'm doing interviews with and stuff. I don't think there was anybody that hasn't at least heard of you. And I'm talking like a wide array of different kinds of people that I would say that, oh yeah, I've heard of them. People that don't even know 90s music has at least heard of you guys. That's pretty good. So do you think you'd ever get to that point? I mean, honestly, it takes a lot of work to do this. And a lot of, you guys are gigging like crazy.
Yeah, and pretty much every weekend, two shows a weekend. Sometimes 4, but yeah.
So you guys are doubling up on some days. You guys are doing 2 today.
Depending on the summertime, we have Thursday nights, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It kind of blurs together after a while, but it's still well worth it. I mean, it's a blast.
Yeah. At this point, are there a lot of places coming for you guys and asking you guys at this point now? It's like you guys are now sought after instead of just going out and looking for gigs.
Yeah, it does happen certainly.
You have to turn stuff away at this point.
Yeah, we do turn down a lot of shows. I would probably imagine I've turned down 40 shows for this year at least.
Wow, and that's just because they didn't catch you in time for you guys were already booked.
Well, once again, going back to the whole pandemic conversation, it's still everything is still very uncertain, and so a lot of venues maybe didn't get as quite of an early start or weren't quite sure what they were going to do this year or this summer. So they kind of waited. And I mean, I got phone calls in May. They wanted me to do a show in June that I had obviously booked, in September of the previous year. So, but yeah, so it just, I mean, it's great that people seek us out. It certainly makes us feel really good. Obviously, our name, our reputation, whatever you want to say, it's out there, and hopefully it's a good thing.
So how do you guys go about doing this thing? I mean, like I know you guys are pretty, it's not just 90s stuff, but that's pretty much where you guys are living at, right? I mean, that's
Sure.
You guys kind of go a little bit outside that box, but not really. I mean, that's where you want to stay.
No, I mean, we're not necessarily like a tribute. We don't pigeonhole ourselves into one genre. I think when I joined up, what was it, 2019?
18, I think.
18, I started doing fill-ins. The conversation was grunge DNA. What is that? Grunge is obviously 90s. It's grunge. It's 90s centric. But the DNA is any and all that came to that point.
Yeah.
It kind of opens up the possibility to do anything. And it's great.
The first time I heard that name, I think what came to me was that the band members, this was like in their DNA. This whole 90s thing. Like, is that what it was? You guys were kind of like, that was the time in your life where music was like, 90s really grabbed you.
So yeah, it's actually kind of there's not really a super cool story behind the name. Actually, we'll call it version 1. We hadn't come up with the name. We were just practicing in my basement, and we were, we'd been practicing together for a month and a half, maybe 2 months, and we could not think of a name for the band. We didn't need to worry about it yet. We weren't gigging out yet or anything like that, but we were trying to think of a name for the band, and the one gentleman was in version 1.0, Dave, he's like a medical savant or something. He's like an X-ray something technician, supervisor. And I was just sitting there behind the drum kit at practice, and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking medical, doctor. And then I'm thinking like, music's in your soul, music's in your blood, DNA's in your blood, grunge is in your blood, grunge. And I'm, grunge. I like literally just had
that's like how it happened. Just
had
the
a
words were
moment.
just going.
Yeah, it just, and as I tell this story, it happened a lot faster in my mind than it taken me to tell the story. But that's basically, I was just sitting behind the drum kit. We were on a break between a song. I looked at Dave, being in the medical field, and all of a sudden just grunge is in your DNA. And I'm like, grunge DNA. And the guys literally were like, done. Like it was instant that, because when we first started, we only did the grunge bands. So, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, that's all we focused on. And then that's hence why I use the word grunge. But as we've progressed, we've played a lot more bands other than just the grunge bands of the 90s, and we've focused into all the alt rock and even the, the pop punk and all of that.
So how do you guys come up with the songs? Who comes? Is that as another collective thing where a one person here's a song on a radio and it's like, oh yeah, that fucking song, and then you come up and you're like, guys, we got to do this too, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, and is that basically how it goes?
Yeah, pretty much. It's very casual. It's casual.
And then what do you guys have, like an emailing thing, or you guys constantly have a messaging thing where it's like, learn this before you show up for practice type thing, or are you guys not like that?
We don't really have time for practice.
So you guys learn them at the gig. Awesome. At home.
You practice on your own. You rehearse at practice, but we don't have time for rehearsal. I mean, we're gigging so much.
Because we've been playing so much, and everyone else has personal lives and family lives. Obviously, the amount of time we've practiced, I would say in the last year or so, has definitely declined.
Sure.
And so we unfortunately, probably I would say maybe in the last year might have added 5 new songs, which collectively we agree is a little bit disappointing. We prided ourselves on continually adding new music and growing our song list. I think we're up to like 150, 160 songs or something that we do. That's what I was going to say.
So
it's really still a lot of songs.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
you can change set lists. It will. I mean, there's really not. You could play 5 different shows and not play the same song.
Exactly.
There are no set lists.
Yeah.
I mean,
is that another thing? You guys just pull as you go?
We write them up, but it's basically suggestions. I mean, if people have seen us before and they say, I want to hear, last night we played 5 songs in, somebody wanted to hear Clutch. Boom. We changed it and kind of ran with it. Probably a little early to do that, but yeah. Bulls on Parade, toot song in. Okay, let's go.
Cool, man.
We jokingly call them suggestion lists because we very rarely ever follow it. It's it's very organic. Every show's different. Now, granted, we play a lot of the same bars, so we're familiar with the crowd and we know what kind of music they like. But we've been playing a lot of new venues. We play up at the Islands, and sometimes we don't know what we're going to get into.
Right.
So we kind of typically always start out kind of slow, and then it sort of slowly progresses. We get a little bit more into the dancier stuff, the poppier stuff, then we get into the heavier stuff, and then we get into the crazy fun.
At the third set,
super heavy
by your
stuff.
By your last set, toward the second half of that, anything goes.
Yeah, it's a free for all.
Yeah,
someone else.
That's the best time.
Yeah, but someone usually, just like last night, someone 2 or 3 songs in will scream a song that they really want to hear that maybe we weren't planning on playing to the third set, but we'll just
throw one in there.
We'll throw it in there, and sometimes we just keep rolling with. Our first set last night was really heavy from the get-go.
Yeah, it was a blast.
It was a blast. It was good, and the second set was fantastic as well, just super heavy stuff. And we saved all the dancey stuff to the third set, which
and sometimes because sometimes that's how the crowd plays out, right? You got certain crowd there in the beginning that comes out to see the grunge stuff, but as the night progresses, girls start showing up, drinks keep flowing. Next thing you know, the dance music is what's going to win the night over.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you guys basically you'll change whatever. So because your job is really to keep people in the bar, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that the job of the band, period,
100%.
right?
Put money in the register. Like you said, it's the job of the cover band to perform, entertain the people, keep them there, and have them keep them drinking, so money goes in the register, and it's kind of our job.
Heck yeah. Do you guys, what about because you don't get to rehearse much or anything, do you guys ever just get brave and just try something on the fly? Just literally on the fly, let's just try it.
We were talking earlier about a local bar, Shaker's Tavern. We played there, and I think that was the first night we played Enter Sandman. We just decided to do it, and everybody ate it up, and they loved it. Fast forward 2 years later, and we're playing it at the House of Blues. It just
it's in the set now. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it worked well.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. Josh, our guitar player, I always sort of jokingly I call him a musical savant. I mean,
he's a witch.
His musical collection in his brain of songs it's off the charts. I mean, I would just throw out a random number. I say if he doesn't know 10,000 songs, he doesn't know one.
Yeah, that's great to have.
So amazing. We could just literally name a song, and once you get the guitar part, everyone else just sort of kind of jumps in.
100% true.
And obviously, Patrick knows a lot of lyrics, and
no,
even though he makes them up, he makes them up.
Well, yeah, you just and then maybe later on you'll figure out you just keep it that way.
No,
really?
I mean, part of the fun is seeing if people realize what I'm saying is wrong.
I love that. So do you do that often? Do you deliberately do it sometimes? Do you just change lyrics? Do you guys have inside jokes inside the band where you guys fuck with each other doing that stuff?
All the time.
Josh and I work together very well, and a lot of time. I mean, hell, Jim and I do too. I mean, Jim, the bass player, we were together. God, how many years is it now? 16? We played in bands together before. So when we came together in Grunge DNA, it was just like, boom. Everything we used to do back then, from Beverly Hills into the Joker, the Steve Miller, it just kind of works. It's weird.
Like from here to here.
But
that's so cool,
but it
right?
works.
Yeah,
it
right.
just goes.
Those are hits. I mean, good songs are good songs. We talk about this on the show all the time. It doesn't really matter. A good song is a good song.
Yes.
And you can take any good song from any genre, and if you put your own spin to it, it's still a good song. You can't take the good song out of it unless you really suck. There's some bands that can take the good song out of it.
I've ruined a handful of songs myself.
Well, honestly, I think that's what really makes you guys go. You guys got first of all, it's a 4-piece, which is really nice. I always think that's a nice setup because you don't have too many egos and too many people to deal with. 5 pieces gets a little tougher, and it's basically a power trio with a front guy. You know what I mean? It's what it is, and that's what I think rock and roll is. That's really the base of it. But the truth is you're all 4 really good at what you do. And your 2 front men, your 2 lead guys are really good at what they do. So when you have those 2 things in place and then you have a real solid rhythm section behind all that, every band's great when they have those things in place. You know what I mean? And
I appreciate it.
You have that, and your guys have honed in your craft. It's solid. Playing live does that, right? It solidifies everything.
Yeah, it brought it together. There's nights where we joke and go, "Did that just happen?" We didn't even think about it. It just we've played the song so many times. The song is the song. I can turn around, have a conversation with Dave mid-song while he's playing, while I'm taking a break from singing, and it's natural. It's so strange how it just goes.
We even have hand signals for songs. So if we want to change things up or just go into something different, or if
That's like a
just
baseball team.
yeah. So we've got all sorts of crazy hand signals for different songs, and I mean it's
some people have actually picked up on them.
Yeah,
we've done them so often. Fans and friends that have come out and seen us are like, oh shit. We know what's coming next.
So we don't even have to talk.
That's
we
cool.
just do a hand signal. It's like the third base coach on the baseball team giving to steal a second or something. Yeah, right.
Fucking funny. I ask that a lot about bands though, especially because we have a lot of these jam bands that come on here. Also, bands that just improvise. That's what they do. And I'm like, how do you guys do that? Like, how do you guys know when changes coming? What do you guys have like things that are like eye signals and stuff like that? And they're like, actually, yeah, like that's kind of what you do. Sometimes it's just on feel. I guess a lot of times, you play together for a long enough time, you do things, you almost kind of know what the other person's thinking, and you guys are seeing the same thing. That's another thing. When you guys are up there and you guys playing a lot of gigs, and you guys are playing mostly bars, a lot of interesting things happen, right?
Yep.
And you're the front guy up there. You're up there, and you're good at it. You're a good front guy. You're up there. You're interacting with people, and you make it fun.
Try to, yeah.
Crazy things that have happened. Like you guys see anything like really out of the ordinary, where you guys are just like I always ask it like this. This is my favorite way to ask it. If your cousin comes in and he's like, "Oh, I heard you. How's the band doing? And everything? Anything crazy happen?" You're like, "Dude, this one time." That story. Like, do you have anything like that? That's
Yeah, not necessarily on the dance floor, but there was a time where, I'm not going to say the venue, but we finished the evening going into the bathroom to wash our hands, and somebody was relieving themselves in the urinal, but not the way that you think they would.
They were turned around,
and it just threw everything. Everybody just started laughing, and it became, dude, you got to check this out. And everybody just started going.
I was the first one to see that. Yeah. He was literally sitting in the urinal, taking a deuce.
Was he out? Was he passed out?
No, he was really hammered, obviously, though. And here's the funny thing: when I was in there, there's a separate room. There's a separate room for the urinals, and there's a separate room for the toilets. So when I saw that, I had to go to the bathroom really bad. So I went into the room with the toilets. And here's the really funny part. When I finished my business and I walked back past his room, the second time he was actually sitting in a different urinal. So he actually got up from one urinal, and sat in apparently it was warmer or colder.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe he ate some hot food, and maybe the water. I don't know.
Pretty drunk. But
that's great.
Yeah.
So funny story. It was Dave. The entire time.
But actually, Patrick, I thought you were going to talk about the story when we were up at Geneva on the lake, and you invited the mother of the bachelorette. I thought that's the story you were going to go.
No,
well, I'll tell you what.
That's another one.
Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, sure.
All right, well, let's tell it when we come back. We're going to take a break real quick, and when we come back, we'll hear that story and more from Grunge DNA.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Good evening, Cleveland. I am ZM Delgado, author of the Rust Belt Rock Review at ZackoLantern.com, and this is your weekly heavy metal update from Level Up Cleveland. Friday the 26th, you'll catch me down at No Class Cleveland, where I'm watching Pound, Paradox Rift, Fake Muslims, and Zoe. Saturday the 27th, I will be at the Odeon, where I'll be at the Sunshine Live Community for Healing Cancer Benefit, featuring Bessemer Saints, Voices of the Damned, Counting Gravestones, Cookie Carnage, Sandy Payne Miller, and DJ Ron Singleton. That's a very important one, folks, and I really hope you make it to it. How about Tuesday the 30th at the Odeon, where Deicide's going to be coming through with Cataclysm, Inhuman Condition, and yes, again, Paradox Rift. These guys are everywhere, aren't they? Closing up, I just want to take a moment to congratulate our nominees for this year's Cleveland Music Awards Best Metal Band. They are Paradox Rift, Assault, Pillars, and Ventana. That is Sunday, September 25th, and you can vote now for your favorite metal act at clevelandmusicawards.com. Make sure you get in there and represent for the act that you want to win, and I think you all know who I'm voting for. But that's a secret. Till next time, Cleveland, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching Level Up Cleveland and reading the Rust Belt Rock Review. Back to you, Brian.
And we are back with the guys from Grunge DNA, Dave and Patrick. Patrick, you were just about to tell us a little story there about yeah, go on.
Yeah. So playing Yankees up at Geneva on the Lake, and there was a
bachelorette party. I'm pretty sure it was.
The young lady was in her 40s, which would have put her mother considerably older. We were playing.
It was a dance song. Was it Santeria?
No. I think it was. There's a tambourine. So.
Oh, Mary Jane.
Yeah. Mary Jane's Last Dance. So I'm shaking the tambourine, and I lock eyes with this blue-haired vixen. And so she's having a great time. I got a wireless mic. I actually run down the ramp, hand her the tambourine, start shaking it. She's having a great time. I invite her on stage. Mind you, it's easily 95 degrees, just hot as hell. So it's even hotter on stage. Lights are going. And I didn't understand or didn't realize how much alcohol she had imbibed throughout the day. So she comes up, middle of the stage, shaking the tambourine, having the time of her life, until she collapsed right in front of us.
Stage.
And
went down to her knees.
Yeah, she was down. I mean, she
was out.
She was out. So I'm fanning her as the band, pros that they are, just kept going. And our friend Phil, the sound guy, comes running up. I see him, sprinting, makes his way up the other side of the stage, and we help her up and help her along. And I hear her say, well, her daughter yell. I mean, we're playing and we're ripping and it sounds great. And her daughter goes, "Mom!" Like it just cut through everything. And so immediately everybody sobers up and we help her off. She makes her way to the side. And as she's on her way out, she says to her daughter, "I knew I shouldn't have had those shots with you," and goes along. So I didn't feel as guilty at that point, but it was interesting.
Hell yeah.
Nobody died. There was no chalk outline the last time we played there. So
did you guys worry at all at the time, though? Was anybody?
I was terrified.
I mean, you were, but you guys were just like, she'll be fine.
No, there's an urgency. You have a sort of an urge to stop when you see something like that. I mean, I think it's a natural human reaction that you want to stop and see what's going on and help. But you also have the
show must go on mentality. It exists
so,
for sure.
We kept playing, and I don't think they called the EMS. I think they just gave her water and she got better. So as far as we know, she's still.
And I was
strong.
praying that her name was Mary Jane because it would have fit so well.
The Last Dance, she just collapsed. That's really good.
We could joke now. I think she's
fine.
Still around.
Yeah, she'll be at no other shows.
That was
give her a moment.
We'll just keep her off to the side.
Yeah, you'll know. No shots for this one.
Yeah. 9-to-5 jobs suck. People like at the end of the week, even the end of this week, I was like, "Oh my God, it was terrible. I can't wait to Friday night when we could play." So people feel the same way coming to our show. It's our job to make them forget about their everyday bullshit, come out, cut loose, drink, have a good time, dance, relive, your childhood or whatever it was. At the end of the day, right now, our music that we're playing is the stuff that people grew up with coming out to the bars. They're the ones spending the money, 40-year-olds,
right,
50-year-olds. They're like, "Oh my God, I remember when."
I was doing this when I remember that song reminds me of this and stuff. You guys, that's what you're doing. That's all you're rolling out. You're rolling out someone's life.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. So when you're doing like a 4-gig week and stuff like that, how do you take care of your voice? Do you just have one of those iron throats where you can just kind of like work your way through it?
Right now, yeah. The more we play, the stronger it gets. It's odd. Last night,
it's a muscle.
Oh, sure. But last night was good. Tonight will be better.
Really?
The third night would be strongest, and then the fourth is kind of like, hey, that's when we rein it in a little bit and go, okay, we're doing Counting Blue Cars tonight, or we're doing Hey Jealousy as opposed to Hey Man, Nice Shot. We'll kind of selfishly, I gotta.
So you guys have like this song replaces this song replaces this song usually, or
no?
Could it just those examples?
Just examples.
Yeah,
I mean, I usually turn into the pussy and kind of go, dude, I can't sing that tonight. Josh looks at me and goes, "Are you serious?" And then I go, "Fuck it, we'll do it."
Then just a little twist, and that's it. And
it doesn't take much.
Yeah, that's cool though. Well, you're capable of it. I mean, if you're capable of doing it, then and that's a pretty big asset that the band has to have a vocalist, because when the instrument's flesh, it's really the only one
Or if you swallow a bug,
That's
gone.
another good story. Yeah.
That's the other
You
one.
swallowed a bug on stage?
Last weekend, yeah. And
Was it outside? Was it an outside venue at least?
Same
I hope so.
venue that we almost killed a woman.
Yeah, same venue.
Yeah,
It's
Mayfly.
funny.
Yeah, I was. Well, what did it look like from your point of view? 'Cause
I just saw you kind of playing with the microphone, and I thought maybe your battery died in the microphone. But as you were holding it in your hand, I saw the green light, so I knew the battery was working. So honestly, I really had no idea. But yeah, it was
The vocal just stopped, and all of a sudden, it was you hacking and stuff over there.
Wait, long and short, we were playing Machine Head. Looked at Josh, started walking over to him to be playful and stuff like that for the crowd. I took a deep breath, and a mayfly, boom, right in my
a mayfly
in,
too.
right? So a big sucker.
the bugs were horrendous that night.
Where was this, like, out on the island?
Yeah, Yankees in Geneva.
Yeah, Geneva.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that way.
Actually, the
So-
sound guy who does sound at that venue every Friday and Saturday night, and he lives up there, he said it was literally the worst he's ever seen it. So for whatever reason, that night, I guess it was destined that.
Oh, they can get really bad.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
So for some reason, and it's never happened before, it just shut everything down. Just gone. There was nothing.
Really?
So Jim,
he couldn't even
Josh-
talk. Let
No,
alone
it was
sing.
it was
Couldn't
gone.
even talk.
It was weird.
Couldn't even talk.
About 8 songs into the set, I was screwed, sad, disappointed, worried, all at the same time. So Josh and Jim finished strong, doing everything. I go off to the side and try to figure out what the hell I'm going to do, not only for that night, but we have a show the following night up at Kelly's Island. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm worried.
And there's more mayflies there.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, Phil, kudos, thank you. Said I've seen it a million times, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Go off to the side of the stage, cough like you're going to die, just rip your throat to shreds. It'll come back, and sure as shit, boom. Just my body needed a reboot, I guess.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and it worked.
yeah, it worked. Worked like a charm. I was scouring for hot tea, drinking Jameson like there was no tomorrow, and nothing was working. And he said, dude, go in the corner and cough like crazy until you almost throw up. And sure as shit, there it was. And, a couple of minutes later, we're back on stage.
Yeah.
And
We took an
was
extended break. Most of our breaks are 15, 20 minutes at the most. I want to say we probably took a 30-minute break that time, which is really long for us.
Yeah, but I mean, like, those are emergency type breaks where,
sure.
like, that's why you don't take them all the time. So when you need one, everybody knows that this is probably something's wrong.
Yeah.
This isn't typical for them to do that kind of shit.
Yeah. And the sound guy knew what was going on, so he was cool with it, and he kind of helped us out. And he's playing music over the speakers, so the people are still entertained and they're still having fun. So, but he came back on stage and just ripped out the. And I think we wound up going like an extra 15 minutes longer than we were supposed to sort of make up for the time that we lost.
Sure.
So not that it's a big deal, but
So what like if all the gigs you guys play, like, do you have one that sticks out, or like one venue? Is like House of Blues, like was that a kind of a big deal first time you played there and everything?
Sure. Well, they had done it
maybe
three
I think three times
prior
with
to
version
Jim and I
2.
joining.
Yeah.
But that's definitely one. I mean, playing a venue where your idols,
Played.
it's crazy.
Yeah, right,
Being
right.
in the back in a green room, having a drink, looking at a painting of what's supposed to be Janis Joplin, but it looks like Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. It's really weird.
And it's a naked picture with boobs, so it's Sebastian
Yeah,
Bach with
so I will never look at him differently.
Sebastian Bach with B cups.
Yeah, but
I mean, like the islands and stuff like that going out there. I mean, those got to be all like pinnacle type gigs where you're like, man, look where I'm freaking playing at this freaking.
Yeah, that was one for Jim and I. I know I can speak for us going up to the islands. For some reason, that was always the boom. We got to do that. When you do that, you've made it. Little did I know, playing the House of Blues is a little bit bigger, but playing on the islands, setting up for the evening, not having to tear down at the end of the night, waking up, going to the same venue, and your stuff's still there. It's crazy. It's fun. Yeah. And we actually get paid to do this. It's weird.
Right.
Like I remember going to festivals. I think I said it this year when we played Norwalk, the Strawberry Festival. Seeing people watching us and kind of go, man, I wish I could do that. I felt that way.
Yeah, right. You felt like them. You were like the roles had
just
switched.
Flipped. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. And so let me ask you this: so you guys, we were talking earlier about different versions of the band and stuff like that. And moving forward, you were explaining to me off the camera and stuff that you guys are kind of talking about, kind of getting all the versions together, and kind of like doing a thing where You're just going to be interchanging parts and stuff like that, or are you going to do like a Rush thing where they started off with the chronologically going from one era and then just moving it like through the eras?
So that's actually the latter is sort of my vision for this show that I'd like to put together. So our first show was in March of 2013, and so obviously March of 2023 will be, for lack of a better word, our 10-year anniversary. So since we've had 3 versions, I've actually talked to the other members that are no longer in the band and asked them if they would all be interested in being a part of this event. We'll call it a Grunge DNA reunion show, where we actually have all 3 versions of the band performing in one night. So version 1.0, we'll call it, maybe do like 4 or 5 songs. Version 2.0, maybe do, an hour and 15, hour and however many songs they would like to do. And then version 3 come up and maybe just do like another hour and a half or something like that. Yeah. So, but certainly maybe at the very end, we could certainly, just have some kind of big get together where we're all on stage and doing some kind of song. That would certainly be really fun. But the initial vision was just to kind of reunite everyone and get everyone back together, because every single person that's been in the band has been an integral part of the growth of Grunge DNA. Version 1.0 didn't even last a year, but it still doesn't mean that it wasn't important, because that's
stepping stone.
Yeah, it's a stepping stone. Too. Yeah, yeah, and the gentleman that was the original guitar player, he actually found me through social media. And so actually when version 1.0 started, it was really just 2 of us in the basement. And it was probably about maybe a month and a half, 2 months till we found a bass player to join us. So I'm really excited for that show. We just have to find the right venue for it. We have to find a venue that obviously has a big enough stage to accommodate all the equipment and stuff like that. And so we're kind of spitballing and trying to figure it out. But everyone's on board, and we're super excited about it. And I think the other members are really, really excited about it.
Before you joined this band, I'm sure you were in other bands. You seemed like a seasoned veteran up there. You're not somebody that just now found out you could sing.
No.
So what other bands? What were you doing before this? I mean, first of all, are you guys both local guys, like through and throughout? I mean, have you always been from this area, or did you guys come from somewhere else?
I grew up in Garfield Heights, but Dave and I live in Parma, and you were
North Homestead.
North Homestead. So,
okay.
Long and short of it was Jim and I played in a band which had a couple of versions in its own right, Ignoring Daniel and the Imitation Academy. We played together for years. I decided to step away because of, having a family, and things just kind of ran their course, naturally. So we decided to stop, and I still wanted to sing. After a couple of years, I thought, man, I really fucking miss it. And luckily for me, Dave found us. He came in and watched us play a handful of times. So whenever the old singer, Kevin, needed a break or needed a night off, Pat, do you want to give us a hand? Sure. So I went in, and I really got the urge to do it again. I started practicing with a couple of other bands, and it just happened where, the old singer didn't want to do it anymore, wanted to start a business, and it was taking up a lot of his time. And Dave asked me to join. I then, like any good husband would, I asked my wife if that was okay. She said yes, and here we are. So
that's the story.
And the same sort of thing happened with Jim, the bass player. He was, for lack of a better word, he was a backup player for version 2.0. Brian, the bass player at the time, he had a young daughter. And wanted to spend some time with her on the weekends and whatnot. And there was occasions where he obviously had family obligations, couldn't do the show. Once again, going back to kind of the progression of the band, every year we kind of started playing more and more gigs, and so naturally the family life, there's a burden to that.
Absolutely,
and so
the balance.
Yeah, as we started playing more and more shows. Those 2 members, Kevin and Brian, weren't necessarily able to play all of those shows, and that's when I sort of, for lack of a better, recruited Patrick and recruited Jim to be backups, and they were doing fill-in shows, maybe 8 or 10 a year at the most, not many, maybe even 6 or something like that. And then obviously, eventually, they became full-time members.
So listen, I wanted to ask you guys about what's been happening lately. Some of these venues have been closing down. And some not just regular bar type places, that these are like Stage Pass and stuff. These are music venues, and they're not being able to keep their doors open and stuff like that. You guys, on the other hand, have kind of like decided to take a different angle towards this, and you guys have actually done what you guys do, and you guys are taking your popularity and stuff, and you try to help some of these bars out a little bit by just going in there, trying to do like some of a fundraiser, right? Basically, just giving everything to them.
Yeah,
is that what basically we're doing? And yeah, tell me a little bit about it.
So when the pandemic first hit, obviously everything shut down. I mean, you weren't even allowed out on the road, obviously, and I'm sure you'll remember the live stream concerts became kind of a popularity, and a lot of musicians weren't able, especially people that did it full time, weren't able to make a living, and so they were doing these live stream concerts where they had like their Venmo app connected to it, and they were actually accepting tips.
Yeah, that's right.
So that they could make a living and pay their bills and feed their family, and do all the things that they obviously have to do. And so when that first happened, we didn't jump on board with that right away, but we started thinking, what could we do, use that forum to do something good. All of us were working full time at the time. So I don't think any of us were in any kind of hardship position or whatnot, but the bars were and the venues were. So we decided to do we did 3 live stream concerts, and we accepted tips from our fans and whatnot, but we took that money and we actually spread it out to the music community or the bar community, and some of our more loyal venues. We actually took that money, divided it up, and gave it to the bar owners. Number one, to say thank you, but also, hey, we're all in this together. Hope this helps, because very clearly, business is tough for you right now. So we were able to raise over the three shows. We raised about $2,000, I think.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, and we spread that out amongst 3 of the venues that we play at. And
one of which said thanks but no thanks, and actually it was like, no, we appreciate it, you guys. Yeah, everything you've done for us.
Oh, really? So at first they were like, no, you almost had to force them to take it.
We ended up spreading it out.
Oh, really? So they really just didn't take it?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Well, that venue
didn't close, I hope.
No, actually,
played there last night. Actually,
yeah. Oh, great! Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Actually, the first 2 live streams, the first one we did in a bar. It's another great story. We did the live stream in one of the bars we were raising money for. The bar wasn't open. They weren't allowed to be open. But the crazy part to the story is one of the neighbors that lived close to there heard the music
and saw the light show
through the windows, called the police
because they thought
they were open for business when they're not allowed to be open for business. Yeah. We were just doing a live stream performance, and believe it or not, the cops came in and actually shut us down.
I think the video is still out there.
It is. It's on our Facebook page.
The last song of the evening, and we're almost to the end of it. I think we're playing Possum Kingdom by the Toadies. And we're getting ready to just finish it up, and you see, I don't know if it was Josh or Jim, somebody's just going, stop. And, they shut it down.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And they were great about it. I mean, they weren't being...
yeah, right. They're just like, I got to do it, guys. I can't, it's not me.
You can't be in a bar, and we were like, what do you mean?
Yeah. No one got fined or anything. They were really cool about it, and they just, when they first walked in, the police admitted, because of the lights and the noise, they literally thought that the bar was open for business. And then when they walked in and they finally talked to us, it took about 2 or 3 minutes worth of explaining what we're doing. And eventually they were pretty cool with it. Yep. So, and, when we play the House of Blues, certainly, that's kind of a big event for us. So we definitely hang out and we go out in the crowd and watch the show. And it's just,
that's still a weird one too. When you get done playing a show and you walk down, you're going to see your folks or your friends or your aunt and uncle who came to see you play, and you catch people going, holy shit,
he was just on stage.
No, dude, I just work at a plumbing supply company. I'm in a band with my friends. It's like a bowling league for us. That's what we do.
Yeah, right.
So I just kind of keep going, hey, can I take a picture with you?
Yeah, pictures.
Sure.
I still don't get over.
Why not?
It's really amazing. When people ask you for your picture or ask you for an autograph.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things that just happened to us was just maybe 2 weeks ago. This young kid, he's a aspiring musician, guitar player, and he actually brought his guitar, and he had us sign it with a silver Sharpie. So there's actually a Grunge DNA guitar out there.
The first
It's
one
signed by the
First
whole
one,
band.
the whole band, and and I guess he's actually going to take the time to like lacquer over top of it so it doesn't wear off. And
You know
and it
what?
was a beautiful guitar. I'm not a guitar player, but it was a Gretsch, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a beautiful guitar, and I mean, Josh and Jim would know more about it.
sure.
But it was a beautiful guitar, and he had us sign the back of it. It was really cool.
I'm like, look, we all know as rock fans that we've been getting snubbed by a lot of the bands. They go to Columbus, they go to Detroit, they go to Pittsburgh, and they don't come to Cleveland. That happens all the time. Fuck them.
Yeah.
That's what I say. You know, it's like, well, you know what? Everyone can cry all they want about it or whatever. There's a lot of tribute bands. There's a lot of bands in Cleveland that are really, really good who do the same stuff that they're doing. And it's a $5, $10 cover charge at most. A lot of these are free shows.
Most
now.
are free for
You
us.
walk in, yeah, that's what I mean. You walk in and you're seeing. Well, a lot of tribute bands charge the door because that's the venues they're playing and stuff like
Correct.
that. But I mean, it's they're there. You can go see them and they're free. A lot of them are free. Just buy drinks, buy a beer.
And you're not spending $15 on a beer. If you go to Blossom, that
Hell yeah! And you know, I just
$3 on a beer.
Honestly, most times hearing a compliment or a critique from another musician means the world to me. And don't get me wrong, people coming out to our shows, period, are great. But a friend of ours, Scott, just passed away. He was a drummer of Tarp. First time I met him, walked up, shook my hand, and said, "Your breathing technique is fantastic." No normal fan is going to come up. No normal friend is going to go, "I love the way you breathe, dude." It's really, you know what I mean? Like, so hearing a compliment from a seasoned musician. I don't play an instrument. I sing. That's my musician or my instrument. So hearing that from somebody else, that's when I gush. That's when I appreciate it. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much for paying attention. It's not me, being Mick Jagger and shaking my hips and
yeah, right.
It means the world to me hearing it from somebody else who does what we do. That's what I love. Being a front man and not being a musician is important in other ways just than singing. I want to interact with the crowd. I want to get people to I'm kind of like a court jester, so to speak. You know what I mean? I want it to be a party. I want people to feel involved. Not saying that anybody else couldn't do that. They just can't do it like I do.
That's sweet.
So it's kind of fun. It's silly. People know what to expect from me and Josh when singing, and if they don't get that, I think they're kind of let down because it's then not Grunge DNA.
Yeah, right. Well, I think isn't that every band, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny you guys are called DNA because I think that's what it really comes down to. Every band has a certain DNA about them that makes them that specific thing, and you'll pick out what makes that band that no matter what song they're playing.
And that's the same way with Jim and I, having so many years playing in previous bands together and doing it now. It's just that reflex where you just look at him and kind of go, "That's my bass player." You know what I mean? He's been my guy for a while now, and it's there. It's family. It's friend. It's
everything.
It's everything,
and that makes it a lot more fun on stage. I'm sure, right? Because you're doing it together. And then afterwards, you have people to talk about things. It's a different conversation than if it's just the guy you hired to play the bass.
Oh yeah.
I mean, between Dave and I, there's not 2 days that pass where we're not talking
about something
or figuring out what we're doing. I mean, everybody is really invested.
Do you guys party? I mean, you guys drinkers when you guys are playing out? Do you guys drink with the people, or is it like moderate?
Yes and no. It's still a job.
Yeah, right. So you guys stay professional, and you guys know how to do that. You know how to navigate those.
We also got to get home at the end of the night.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, like it can get tempting, and it can get things can just kind of spin in a certain direction, and you're caught up in it all of a sudden.
Personally, for me, I very rarely have drinks like a mixed drink or a beer or anything during the show. Enough of our fans who come to see us a lot tend to like to buy us rounds of shots. Jameson is the drink of choice for the band, and so I sort of save my drinking for the occasions when, a fan will buy the band a round of shots. Right. So I think last night I might have done 3 of them.
That's it. Yeah.
But I'm so busy behind the drum set, I'm sweating all that out. So by the end of the night,
sitting
I'm
down
fine.
The entire time. He's so lazy.
But
and he has the best view.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I get to stare at him all night.
The back of everybody else.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, I think, as Patrick said, it's a job, it's a profession. The bar owner is expecting you to put on or venue owner they're expecting you to put on a show to entertain them, and you got to put your best foot forward. Now, there's obviously a fine line with having drinks to loosen you up and then having a little too much where it starts affecting your play.
Absolutely.
And I truly think that the band has done a very good job of balancing that. Every now and then, certain venues, we might have a few extra shots bought for us, or it's just one of those days where, maybe I do have a, one drink or two drinks before the show, what I don't normally have. And then it kind of stacks up and I kind of catch myself and I realize what's going on. And then I just kind of stop. And Patrick looks at me all the time. And I can tell when if he's ever had that moment where he feels like he's, had a few too much, he just kind of stops too. So we've done a great job collectively as a band managing that. I don't think we've ever had an instance where we've completely embarrassed ourselves or done anything stupid like that.
Yeah. Don't say never.
Yeah.
No, never.
Yes.
Never.
Never?
100%.
That's
No,
it.
not going to happen.
So August 20th, House of Blues.
Yes, sir.
You guys will be there. You guys are playing just that one gig?
No, actually, there's two. House of Blues, big stage, August 20th with Smells Like Nirvana from Chicago.
Oh.
And then the following weekend, we're playing a intimate show upstairs in the Foundation Room, where it's normally off limits unless you're a member. But they're allowing the
public?
any and all, yeah. So tell them you know the band.
So the 27th, is that the 27th then?
27th, yeah.
Saturday
So the
the
20th
27th.
and the 27th.
And we're the only band performing, so it's us for 3 hours straight.
On the
and-
27th, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
And
pretty cool, man.
It's maybe the coolest venue that. I mean, it's not a huge venue, but just the decoration, the decor, and
You're
just
not going to want to leave.
yeah, it's really really neat, and so it's just a really cool experience. And what's really great about it is it's normally a private, members only type of thing, and they open it to the public, so you don't have to be a member to come see that show. It's free to get in. You don't have to buy a ticket or anything like that, and so you kind of get to see us in a really cool venue
Hell yeah.
that you normally wouldn't get a chance to do.
Hell yeah. Check that out. You guys get tickets. I could get tickets for it. Is that what it is, or is it all free?
Yeah, tickets are now available on Ticketmaster for the 20th.
For the 20th,
show,
yes.
and then the freebie is the.
So that is free.
27th.
That's
And
not
there's
bad.
And
no
there-
ticket needed.
Maybe some to give away. Come out to a Grunge DNA show, and we could.
Yeah, we might even give away a few tickets on this show. We're going to try to figure out a way to maybe possibly do that also.
That'd be great.
Excellent.
Yeah, we can
Thanks,
get you
guys.
some tickets for the 20th.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for coming, man. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
It
it.
was
We are
fun. Thank
out
you.
of
It was a
time.
blast, man.
Hell yeah. You guys are fun, man.
Thanks.
If you see Grunge DNA and you can see him anywhere, you can just look it up and find it out. You can really go on levelupcleveland.com where Patrick runs the website, and he will have every gig of every band that's ever been on the show. He runs it 24 hours, so you guys could check it out there. That's it. We're done. We're out of time.
Killer.
Ugh.
Level Up Cleveland. We are
Till
out.
next time.
Thanks,
Till
bud.
next time.
Yeah.
See ya.
That'll be fine.